Craig Cameron, gloves red, delighted to be here with joined by Celtic welterweight champion Martin Harkin. Martin, how are you getting on? Okay.
I'm no bad, Craig. Thanks for getting in touch and giving me the time.
No bother, no bother. So, would you say it's the biggest week of your fighting career so far? So you've got the Mikey Mckinson 18-0, so it's part of kind of action-packed night MTK card, and it's got a global audience. It's going to be on ESPN Plus. It's going to be on IFL TV. So how are things going? And would you say it's the biggest week of your career so far?
Usually, I've always I just take like one fight at a time and say, "Oh, this is just like any other fight." But you can't say that about this one. It's a big occasion for me. A big platform. The boy's unbeaten. He's ranked third in Britain, so it's a big deal for me. So it is the biggest week of my career. It's the biggest fight I've ever had, to be honest.
Yeah, it's good to see you've copied my haircut as well, just ahead of that big fight. I know I've been a hero of yours for a while, so.
That's it.
You're looking a bit kind of Freddie Lindbergh. Is that what you're?
Do you know what? There's a few people have said that they actually compared me to. If you've ever watched Prison Break,
yeah.
What's the guy's name? The brother, the kind of rough looking one.
I know who you're talking about. The name's not coming to me, yeah.
I can't remember. Somebody told me that in work the other day. They say something. You look quite like him, and I'm like, oh God, I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing.
aye. No, it's a good look. Listen, I get rid of it as well. You get to a point where you're fighting, holding on to the hair as well, just shaving it off.
Do you know, I'm not one of these guys that have hairs like growing around the sides, and you know, I just think that looks dead on fresh, and I think I was going a bit thin in top, so I just thought, fuck it, away with it. Do you know what I mean?
Aye, good shout. Good shout. So in terms of this week and how it compares to a normal fight week, what does it look like for you, Martin? When are you going to be heading down to Wakefield, and what are you going to be doing in the build up to the fight on Sunday night?
Well, all my training's kind of bang. I actually get really good notice for this fight, which is unusual for like a Scottish fighter to get as much notice. I got 4 weeks notice at first, and I took it. I think 4 weeks, it's no ideal obviously for any fighter, but it was plenty of time for me because I usually keep myself 60% fit anyway. But then they backdated it something. They got the dates mixed up, and then I ended up getting 7 weeks in total preparation for this. But I'd say overall 9 weeks I've had properly, because I started training with my coach, Danny Lee, at Greenup Boxing Club 2 weeks prior to that. So 9 weeks in total I've had to prepare for this, and everything's went. I know every fighter says, "Oh, fucking the best camp I've had," or "It's the best I've felt," but I do actually feel that this is the best version of Martin Harkin. And this last week now, it's just tapering down, and it's just about watching the weight. And I'm going down to Wakefield tomorrow morning, just driving down, me and my coach, and just to get. Obviously, we need to go down earlier because of the COVID situation and that, and you need to get COVID tests, and you need to wait 12 hours in a hotel room for 12 to 16 hours before you can get your results back. So as far as I know, you can't even go a walk, or I can't sit in my coach's hotel room or something like that. And it's just the situation the way it is now. But get that done, and then everything should be good to go after maybe Friday afternoon. Just weigh in Saturday and just do the business on Sunday, hopefully.
That's it. Yeah, fingers crossed. And you mentioned, so you've got an excellent trainer on your corner and Danny Lee. The preparations for this fight, has it been specific to Michael Mckinson? So, of course, he's a southpaw. So has there been specific preparation in regards to this opponent, or is it just the same way you would prepare for any opponent?
No, it is. It's you need to prepare specifically for this guy. Obviously, you've watched him. He's quite a negative fighter. He's quite a cagey fighter. He's kind of foxy. He likes to sit in the back foot and coast the fight. He doesn't come to fight as such. Boxers will know what I mean. The guy's negative. he sits back, and without sounding disrespectful, he's obviously effective at what he does to get to the stage he's at. I think he's been well managed. I think his fights have been carefully picked. I think they've invested a lot of money into him. So the sparring is my coach. Me and Danny have got a plan together. We know the approach to take to the fight. Whether it works or no, that's between me and him. So you need to there's a certain approach you need to take to him, and we know it from the footage we've seen. I don't usually watch fighters, but I'll leave that to Danny. But I've kind of seen footage his last two fights, and that's what they say in boxing: you're only as good as your last fight. And the last two guys gave him a lot of trouble. You know, the guy pushed the Russian boy, pushed him quite close, and whatever he was, the last guy was a Spanish import. He gave him a few shaky moments as well. So I think I don't think he's fought MD like me. To be honest, I thought that's my personal opinion. I don't think he's fought somebody that's up and coming, hungry. What has determined to win? These guys have just, I think, been brought in as, you know, foreigners and imports. He's fought a few domestic names, don't get me wrong, but I just don't think he's fought MD as good as me. So I'm just looking forward to proving that on Sunday.
Yeah, and so you've had two really good sparring partners, Lewis Ritson. We've seen you kind of down south sparring with him, and Dean Sutherland as well, another good Scottish fighter. How important is that experience that, you know, with those two sparring, being in preparation for the fight?
It's been vital, actually, because no fault of my own, this is the longest time I've had out the ring. I'm always an active fighter. You see a lot of guys sitting maybe 4, 5, 6 months even in between fights. If you look at me, I'm always busy. I fight every 3 months. But this situation's obviously, there's no fights happening, so the sparring has been crucial to make sure there's no rust, there's no, you know, cobwebs and no ring rust. So the sparring is Ritson was really good sparring. That was my first spar of the camp, and then he's obviously a completely different style for Mckinson, so we were looking for southpaw sparring, and so we got in touch with Dean, and we travelled up to his gym in Aberdeen for the past, I don't know, 4 or 5 weekends. So we've had brilliant preparation for this, and I've been performing well. So I just need to make sure that it's the same on the night, Sunday night.
And so I know that the focus is, of course, going to be on Sunday night's fight and Sunday night's solely fight, but there has been chat and people, you know, saying, well, Martin fight Dean further down the line. Do you think that's a fight you could see further down the line happening, Martin?
Yeah, me, it's if we keep winning, you know, me and Dean have got a good relationship. We're friends. We've sparred a lot of rounds, but you know, if we keep winning, then it probably would be a good Scottish fight. But yep,
Great,
potentially.
I think it's something that the Scottish fans would want to see. I think you quite rightly mentioned there, if you keep winning, you know, it's something in Scotland that we love, these big nights. We've seen it recently with Cash and Lee. It'd be great to see it we used to, but I know, of course, that the focus is going to be solely on Sunday night just now. So I did want to, you know, run something by you in terms of, you mentioned that Michael's quite a negative fighter, and of course I would say, Martin, that you're someone that's got heavy hands. We've seen, of course, here at Clubs Red, we voted your knockout with Ali Black like knockout of the year. Do you feel when you're in the ring that you can finish any fight with a single shot?
I think do you know, it's not so much about, I think it's the speed that catches guys. I think that obviously it's something you can't teach. I think is power. I think you can lift as much weights as you can. I think you can increase it, but I think like it's a thing you're born with. It's like a genetics thing that to carry a dig. but it's the speed that catches guys. I don't think it's no the big like the loading up shots. It's the crispness, it's the sharpness that catches guys. So I think I certainly can end this fight with any hand if I catch him. So, but it's about getting on the guy. The guy's slippery, he's tricky. So, it's going to be difficult to get to him, but I will get to him 100%.
Good. So Martin, I know I'm part of the kind of Gloves Red team's Alan Payne, who's quite close to you. So I'm going to be a bit naughty here and talk about something that maybe people aren't aware of. But it was to see if you could tell us more about it. You had a final eliminator lined up in April, which didn't go ahead. Could you tell us more about that? Because I know the reason I'm touching on it, Martin, is I know that you've had so many bad experiences with fights not happening, and that must affect you, right? So thankfully on Sunday night you've got a massive opportunity now, but could you tell us a bit more about what was meant to be happening in April before COVID kicked in?
Well, we got the offer of a final. Obviously, the one I done in January, that was just an eliminator on its own. But the way the boxing board do it is you need the eliminator, then a final eliminator. So I got offered that fight. What was the guy's name? Ryan Martin, who Mckinson's already beat.
Yeah.
For his manager secured the Commonwealth and British final eliminator for him. So I accepted that, took that fight, and then it never even got announced. And then the show got cancelled, and then the COVID kicked off. So it was very frustrating. And my career's been had a lot of, it's obviously had a lot of ups, but it's had a lot of downs as well with the call-offs and frustrating times. But it's a lot of guys would have just chucked it and says, I'm going to go and do something else and put the focus and the emphasis on something different. But it's just the love of the sport for me, and these things happen in boxing. You know, you go out there and break a hand, and that's you're done. So you just need to take the bad points with the good.
Yeah. It must be difficult, and you're training so hard in this sport, and then the fight's off, and you put all that work and all that preparation in. So yeah, I can only empathise with that. So Martin, I think the main question for me is, what would a win on Sunday night do for you? I mentioned earlier that you've got a global audience, IFL, ESPN Plus, and you've been unlucky with some other bigger opportunities falling through. So what would a win do for you on Sunday night?
Win puts me, well, hopefully I can take his ranking. He's third in Britain, and it's a big audience, like you say, it's a big platform. I feel that I'm a fan-friendly style, so it'll show people what I can do, and I think with this win, then if everything goes the way I want it to go, I'll have a Celtic behind me, I'll have a British eliminator, and then I've just beat the third ranked guy in Britain. So hopefully that puts me in line for a British title shot, if everything goes to plan. But my main aspect is to beat this guy convincingly. I can't, I think I says to you off camera, I can't let this go to the judges because they'll rob me. And he's with MTK, so you know what they've invested money into this guy, and you know what that their mob is like. No disrespect, but I'm a guy cut away from home, coming down to fight the home fighter and on his show, and a guy that they've put a lot of money into. But I'm going to definitely going down with the intentions to.
Yeah. I think he's in the WBO as well. So yeah, if you were to get a win, it puts you right in the mix. With the kind of best in the country, and looking to the world as well with that WBO ranking that he's got. So I want you to tell me about something else, training in the Muscle Hut. What's that like? You tell everyone about that.
So it's my brother-in-law's gym. He actually he rented a wee. Obviously he's a bodybuilder, and he does the weightlifting. He's done a few competitions as well in the past. But he's a guy that's always kind of been a big training's a big part of his life. So he ended up renting a wee unit there just down Helensburgh where he stays, and got some machines together. And he was good enough to get a hold of a punch bag for myself and put it up in his gym, and we were down there training right through the COVID lockdown. So I was quite fortunate. A lot of other boxers were kind of stuck to maybe just running, and obviously with the gym shut, we were stuck to running and maybe doing workouts in the garden and stuff. But I was, thanks to my brother-in-law, he sorted me out. So
the muscle cut. So you're predicting a knockout then on Sunday night? Is that what you're telling everyone here?
Well, I don't, obviously every fight I'm a sort of fight. I don't like to predict any sort of like result, but I'm going down with the mentality to finish the fight and be my own judge, because if it's close in any form or any way, they'll give it to him. So I need to go down that with that mentality to take the guy out. So, and that's the kind of approach I take to every fight. I'm not wanting to sit back and pick points and coast fights. And I like people want to see killers and they want to see action. That's what I want to see as a fighter. So that's the kind of approach, and it's always been my style. You know, just come forward and have a fight. So that's the plan.
Brilliant. No, listen, I wish you all the best for Sunday night. You know, I think that Alan's been predicting that you're going to get a victory, and yeah, I agree with him as well. So I wish you all the best for Sunday and travelling down to Wakefield tomorrow. I don't know what you're going to do in the room for 12 to 16 hours, but there'll be no excuse for promoting this interview, Martin. So I'm just warning you now. But no, thanks again, mate. Hope to get you on the podcast in the future once the COVID restrictions are withdrawn. It'd be good to have you on. Thanks again.
No, that'll be great, Craig, and thanks you and the Gloves Red boys for getting in touch, and I'll definitely catch up with you soon in the future.
Cheers. Brilliant. All right, Martin, all the best. Cheers.